Without further ado, let's get into it. My name is Daniel. I'm the product manager here at SnapStream. I've also worked on our sales team for quite some time. So some of you may have met me before. Um, and what we're going to be talking about today is primarily the release of our first true and AI-enabled feature, which is AI chapters. This is part of a larger release that also has some other smaller features in it too. So we're going to talk about those a little bit at the end. But most of our focus today is going to be on the chapters because that's the thing that we're most excited about. And it's, a pretty significant addition to our interface that we think is going to deliver some good value for people that are using SnapStream to find clips of stuff. So let's get into it. So what we are doing here is we are taking the subtitles from in-progress recordings, can be either closed captions if you're recording TV or live transcription if you're recording something else. And we're going to take that and feed it into an AI in real time to generate chapters that are going to sort of delineate significant topics in that recording. And as part of this, we also are identifying ads. And you can see a screenshot of what this looks like over here on the right. Let's sort of get into the elements of this a little bit. So when you are looking at one of these one of these chapters, it's going to appear in a tab with this icon here. If you're in a three-pane layout, it will show up by default in the third pane. You'll have player, transcript, then chapters. And you'll have the topic up here at the top. And then the time code here, summary down here. All of this stuff is AI generated. It will, take sort of a context window of the transcript and interpret what the speakers are talking about and generate this title as well as an explanation of sort of what's in the chapter. And you can navigate the recording by clicking on those chapters, scroll through them to sort of see what's happening in the recording. And you can also sort of set some default clip points if you want to clip out this whole segment. And in a second, I will do a quick screen share of the interface and show you a little bit about how that works. Other things that are available here is we have gray lighting for the ads. So everything that we've detected as an ad is going to be marked as an advertisement. This all happens through the AI. It's non-deterministic. So, it's doing an interpretation on what is in that transcript and sort of making a judgment call about whether it fits the pattern of an ad. That's how those are being generated. And then we have this button for showing and hiding those ad segments in the chapters if you'd like to sort of, see what the program looks like without them. So let me take a second and just show you what this looks like in action. So this is a recording from earlier today. And you can see we've got, this is just a, MSNBC recording. You see we got the chapters pane over here and we've got our transcript pane here. You can see that those chapter titles are called out in the transcript. So if I click on one of these chapters, it's going to jump me right to that segment in the program, and the chapter heading will appear at the top of the current block in the transcript. Show hide ads is real easy to use, just on, off, on, off. And if I want to set the clip endpoints, I'm just going to click those here, and it works just like setting endpoints manually, but it does it with one button. And we've got those endpoints here, and we can manipulate those just like we would endpoints that I set manually, so that you can clip out that whole segment and export it, post it if you want to, do whatever you like. And then we can, while this recording is sort of happening, we can scroll down and see sort of like what was covered here. What did we cover earlier in the broadcast? It's very easy to sort of like expand and collapse these so that, you can get a real sense at a glance of what was covered in this recording. I can see that, we covered a lot about Kamala Harris and sort of the presidential campaign. And then, down here, we're talking a little bit about what's going on in Springfield, Ohio. And then there's some ads, and then we're talking about the House Speaker and the stopgap funding bill down here. So those are the three big stories on this hour of MSNBC, it looks like. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Harry to talk a little bit about how this feature can get used in the context of, either a live, recording that's happening right now or something you're looking back at to, make it a lot faster to find content that you're interested in and, drive toward those clips that are going to help you tell your story or, get engagement for whatever you're working on. So, yeah, Harry, do you want to jump in?
Hey, everybody. And Brendan, I think you need to press a button for me to start video.
Is it working now?
There we go.
Hey, everybody.
So like Daniel just kindly introduced, I'm Harry Waisbrand. I'm a co-founder of Act TV. We're a progressive media company specializing in live streaming. And we've been supporting a variety of these Kamala Harris Zoom calls, which have been going viral. Some of the better known ones are White Dudes for Harris, Progressives for Harris, Youth for Harris, and most recently Heroes for Harris, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So a few of these shows, a bunch of these shows we produced, but we've also been a strategic partner for areas like, why do we still call these a Zoom, even if they're really a produced live stream sent to YouTube that uses Zoom as the production studio? And another area that we've particularly been helping with is using SnapStream to intake the feeds so that we can support the distribution of the clips to networks of partners. And this is a unique value proposition that we bring to all our productions. And it's been especially impactful with these Kamala Harris shows, especially the ones that end up going 3+ hours. So this is also where we've been so appreciative for the new AI functionality, the chapters, as a mechanism for organizing all of this footage. And aside even from how long these shows have been going, it's been really valuable to be able to go back through and use the chapters to filter for these top moments. With Heroes for Harris, it was not just a 3.5-hour show, which we produced, we were familiar with the footage, but it was a very complex distribution plan after the fact, because there were just so many different celebrities that took part, so many influencers afterwards that were interested in being in amplifying particular clips, that we made 15 clips through SnapStream while the show was live. And then afterwards, we got requests for about 10 to 15 additional ones that were of particular interest to some of these prospective distribution targets. And I'd say, like, this new kind of tool is part and parcel of why I'm so happy to be a SnapStream partner. Looking forward to seeing what other developments they have in store, and really appreciative for Daniel and the whole team.
Yeah, thank you, Harry. So, it sounds like, to sort of like read back what you're describing here. You are putting on, a large complex live stream event. And what you're trying to do is take as many parts of that, you have a lot of valuable content inside that live stream. And what you're trying to do is take that long form content and extract locate and extract those pieces of short form content that are most valuable, as many of them as you can and as quickly as you can, to distribute those to your partners, in while they are still sort of fresh and most valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. And for a concrete example, during Heroes for Harris, they had the actress that played the childlike empress from the Neverending Story on. And like, I totally missed that. Like, she had this particular part where she made a reference to Kamala Harris using lines of the movie. And after the fact, one of these pop culture specialists that roped in these kind of people, when they told me about it, I was able to use the chapters to go find the section of the show where this person was, and then identify that particular part of her talk.
Wow, that's really cool. I have to admit, I saw the Neverending Story like probably twice when I was a little kid, and I do not remember that character. Certainly, I wouldn't get the reference. But yeah, it's great to hear that this feature was useful in sort of locating that those specific moments that you weren't aware of in the moment, or
Mhm.
certainly weren't aware of the impact that they could potentially have, and you're able to like quickly go and dig those up. Search, of course, is a core SnapStream feature that's been around for a long time, but being able to just go in there and look for what you're what you're in search of is really valuable as well. And we can see sort of like, the sampling of some of the clips that, were created from this live stream. We've got some recognizable faces here. Mark Ruffalo, Alex Winter from Bill and Ted, Mandy Patinkin. So yeah, anything else, Harry, that you want to highlight about how this feature was useful for you?
I think because the AI generated transcript can't know who the speakers particularly are, it like numbers the speakers. You need some other way to be able to filter other than like knowing exactly the search terms. So especially with these like really long projects, it's been very valuable.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is a really, especially for uh, one of the things that the chapters are good at is sort of calling out who the important figures are in any particular segment. And you can see that here with this segment, about honoring trailblazing women in technology. We have it really calls out that it introduced Octavia Spencer specifically. And while you could probably search for that name and find some of the hits, this is very clearly the segment that was about that name. So it's really great for sort of bringing those key, figures in a particular broadcast up to the top, and letting you, see those just by scanning through.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. Uh, Thank you very much, Harry. I'm going to move on and talk just a little bit about how this feature works. Um, So, what you're looking at here is a diagram of the sort of pieces that get put together to make this feature happen. Um, and we've got this sort of separated into things that are happening in your environment and the customer environment, things that are in the SnapStream environment, and then things that are outside. So what's happening here is that during a live recording, we're going to be taking these captions and we're going to be feeding them into a prompt that SnapStream has written that lives outside of your customer environment. So we're going to take that segment of the transcript and say, and write a prompt that says, take this segment and, make some chapters out of it. We send that off to a third-party AI model that we're licensing. I believe right now we're using Claude, but we're about to sort of switch that to get some better, sort of stronger, faster, better, more results. And then it's going to spit those chapters back out, and uh, those go into a central database that we maintain. And then your SnapStream environment is going to read those chapters back from this central database. So there's some interesting separation here between things that your SnapStream environment is doing and things that we're doing centrally, and then this third party. Some of the things that I want to call out about this model: it gives us a little bit more sort of resilience for this part of the interface, because we are handling some of the work centrally, instead of on your customer instance. I also want to note that in this particular case, none of the data that you are working with in your environment is being um, used to train any AI models or anything like that. We are not, running our own AI model that is trained on your content. What we're doing is leveraging AI to interpret the content that you are recording in your SnapStream environment and bring value to you by licensing that existing model. So, always some concerns in the AI space about like, what is actually being, used to create these models. In this case, everything that we do with the model is licensed from a third party. We're not training anything. And just some final things to know about this feature. Chapters for a new recording are going to start showing up about 10 minutes after it starts. So, if you have something that is, 5 minutes old, it's probably not going to have chapters yet. Just wait another 5, 6 minutes and you should start seeing stuff. And the reason for this is simply that this is a contextual feature. So until we have some context for the what's happening in the recording, we can't show it to you. So, this is about bringing out the relationships between different parts of the content. And so until some of those relationships happen, they can't be represented. Chapters are only going to be generated for in-progress recordings today. We don't have a method yet for chapterizing existing recordings in your library. So, everybody who will have access to this feature should have it now. It's only going to affect recordings that have been made since your system was upgraded this week. If you're interested in chapterizing other parts of your library, please reach out. We'd love to hear about, what you want to do with that so that we can make decisions about, how to enrich this feature going forward.
And quick question, Daniel, from Ryan. Are there
Yes.
any preferences we can use to fine tune the chapters? Like level of detail, number of chapters, etc.
That's a great question. We have had some discussions about making the prompts customizable. Today, everything is using one prompt. So just returning to our diagram here, we've got one prompt. All of our customer captions are going into that same prompt and then heading up to the model. So, we are, considering some ways to sort of make this customizable. I'd love to hear about what you have in mind here. So, let's maybe connect by email, and you can tell me a little bit more about what you're thinking about, because this is an area where we'd really love to hear some customer feedback so we can know how to improve this for the future. If you want to turn this on and off, it is available. There's an option on the recording page in the admin section. You can also turn it on and off for individual jobs. But just to be clear, like, this doesn't impact performance on your system in any way, because all of that work is being done off board. So, there's not particularly any reason to turn it off unless you have some kind of policy that says you don't want to use it or something like that. And finally, this feature is only available for our cloud customers today. If you are working with an on-prem SnapStream instance and you want to and you're interested in this feature, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you about it. See if there may be a pathway to migrate you to our cloud platform, or think about what might be necessary in order to use it on-prem. If you have any other questions about the AI chapters feature, happy to address those. Just type them into the chat. I'm going to move on and talk a little bit about some other small features that are a part of this same release.
Before we move on, we could just also invite anyone who wanted to just speculate or talk about how they would want to fine tune. I know Ryan had brought up that question, if we wanted to just pause for a moment or two, if people had ideas or just wanted to bat around a little bit, that would be awesome, and I think very helpful for the development of the product.
And that is SnapStream team member Graham Lampa, by the way, everybody. Thank you, Graham.
Howdy, thanks, Brennan.
Also a former user.
Also a former user, yes. My first love of SnapStream came really with the live transcription itself, which is an amazing feature for live stream recording. Ryan, did you want to speculate slightly further about what you would like to have in terms of detail and other ways to sort of fine tune those chapters? You're welcome. I think Brennan can unmute you if you wanted to chat a bit.
not to put you on the spot, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I don't think the voice thing is working for attendees right now.
Oh no.
Or at least
Never
I can't
mind.
make it happen. But you can type in the chat. But
That's
yeah,
okay. If
Dan,
anybody,
you can take it away.
yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move on here. If anybody does have thoughts about this, please, send them into the chat, and we'll definitely have time for an open discussion later on. Just talking about what else is going to be new in this release of SnapStream. We made some pretty significant changes to the way search works in the transcript tab. There were some issues affecting the accuracy of these results, particularly with multi-word searches, and we reworked the whole sort of architecture of this particular part of the product, and brought it much more closely in line with the way that our main search feature works in the library. Just to illustrate what I'm talking about here, this is our, sort of big boy search, which supports all kinds of different operators and Boolean logic and stuff like that. And this search feature formerly was working a little bit differently from this one. So you would get a mismatch in how many results you would see. It's a little bit confusing. So we brought those much more closely into alignment so that you should see similar results between the primary search box and the in-player search box. And we also updated how the highlighting works just a little bit, such that the hit itself is going to have a bold highlight like this. And then the sort of contextual block in which that search hit appears is going to be highlighted in this lighter blue. And that again mirrors the way that search is represented in the primary search interface, where you get sort of a contextual block that goes along with that search result. We added a feature for privacy for a bookmarks feature. Previously, this bookmarks were simply there. Anybody who was logged into your system could see them. We decided to add an option to make those private. So now an administrator can go in and make them private by default, and then individual users can toggle the privacy on or off from the library page. And then we added a notes field for recording jobs. This is for users with large, complex recording schedules who may have a lot of sort of user teams that they are overseeing who are making requests for recording jobs. Sometimes that gets a little complicated and you forget why you submitted a certain recording job. So now you can add some notes so that you can remember. And, maybe this says we need this for a week. You go back and look, it's been a week, so you can get rid of that. And this is accessible on the recording job settings on the schedule page. It's also going to appear in the modal window that comes up for recording job notes or details right here. So you can see if there are notes here, it'll show up there. And that's about it. If anybody has any other questions or comments, we'd love to talk about it. Thank you so much to Harry for joining us today, and to Brennan and Graham for helping us run this, as well as to Jill McDevitt for from our customer service team. Let's see what we have got in the chat here. Let's see, Ryan had some comments about what he was looking for from a prompt. We'd love to have the option for 6 to 8 chapters in a segment versus 3 chapters in a segment. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely like something that we've been thinking about. What we found in sort of, researching and beta testing this feature is that different kinds of content have sort of different structures. And it would be great to be able to bring out those different levels of structure in the chapters. So definitely something for us to think about, as well as, different types of content requiring different, sort of nuances in the prompting. I don't know how much any of y'all follow sort of, thought leaders in the AI space, but prompt engineering is a really hot topic. And so, maybe we could set this up so that, we give you a little bit of control over the prompt and let you do a little bit of prompt engineering there. That's certainly a direction that we could take this. Interesting thing to think about. And then Donald Stever asked, could there be a way for the AI to pick up and identify music almost like Shazam does? And yeah, Graham commented that we have a new customer who is doing something very like that. Our this is a little bit distant from what we're doing today, because right now we're really focused on working with transcript, largely because it's very inexpensive to work with text. But we really want to, take this, idea of using AI to categorize and tag your SnapStream library in a bunch of different directions. Processing video and audio is definitely a place that we want to get to. And, I think that being able to sort of like list out the pieces of music that were identified in a recording is a really interesting idea. I'm not sure that that's something that we thought about, but it could be possible. And basically what I'm saying is we're going to keep working in this space and, look for more features around using AI to represent information about your recordings as we go, into the medium and long term with SnapStream.
And immediately in this space is the October 1st debate on CBS. If you have any friends, peers, or colleagues who would like to try out SnapStream to clip it and using AI features during it, let us know. If you don't already have access to CBS on your SnapStream account and system, let your CSM know and we'll get you set up.
Yeah, or just drop a comment in the chat right now, and we'd love to talk to you.
All right, that's my plug.
Yeah, I think
Thanks everybody.
I think that's gonna be about it. My email is here. If you want to talk more about any of these features, if you have any feedback, if you want to know about, particularly if you don't have access to this feature and you'd like to talk about how to get it, we'd love to talk to you. Yeah, as Brennan noted, if you have any friends or anything who might want to take a look at the debate using SnapStream, we've got that coming up on the 1st.
Thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.
One last thing for anyone in DC, we're doing a happy hour Wednesday next week. 5:30 p.m. at Dacha. I will send it out to anyone here who we believe is in DC. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.